I did a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon X using Canon Pokemon only. That means that I ran with Pokemon that the main character used in the mainline games, spin-offs, and manga. This time around, I chose Y, or Yvonne, as the canon character, because otherwise I'd have way too many encounters. Also, to be honest, I kinda wanted to use Greninja, and Greninja is Y's Kalos starter in the manga. And immediately, we're able to expand the team further beyond that, as we catch Bun Bun the Bunnelby from the catching tutorial, Fletchy the Fletchling, who was on the manga team and in Master ZX, and a Masters exclusive, Cotty. You normally can't get a Cottonee in these games, but because they're usually in places like Sandalwood Forest, I feel like this was a good place to put them. And this might seem like a lot to start, but we're getting to the point in the series where not every encounter fully evolves. Some of them just have character or fun moments, whatever that means. But that's not really an issue right now, as we enter Gym 1. I'll be using the anime rule where you bring the same number of Pokemon to the fight as the gym leader or Elite Four member, and I've got Fletchy and Cotty for this one. Fletchy is good in the bug gym for obvious reasons, but even more so because in the manga, she gets the bonus of always having a brave nature to boost her physical attack. It comes at the cost of her speed, but it also comes at the cost of the Surskit. Vivillon, on the other hand, seems to match our peck damage with Tackle, and to avoid getting trapped in with Infestation, I go to Cotty. He doesn't have much he could do against Vivillon, but the status moves like Leech Seed and Stun Spore move mountains. It's great that they land when they do, because Infestation would have easily chewed us away. It eventually becomes clear that we're slowly outdamaging them, but they use their one potion and put us on the back foot. The Absorbs and Leech Seeds aren't healing quite enough, but after they get fully parried and we get freed from the Infestation, Fletchy is now safe to switch back in. She eats a critical tackle, but by this point, we just need one last peck to get the win. We've got a huge chunk of game before the next gym battle, and since I don't plan on spending much time in Lumio City until Legends Z to A, we move on to pick up Meowie the Esper from Route 6. This little cat is always found on the Rivals team in this game, and Route 6 is home to some of the deadliest trainers in the game, so I have high hopes for her. The Snorlax is dealt with pretty easily thanks to Cotty's statuses, but it's actually Bun Bun who takes us home. You guys better savor this moment because this is the only screen time Bun Bun gets. After that, we pick up a couple more buddies. We've got Sol the Adamant Absol, let's go! Along with Rai the Bashful Rhyhorn. Not quite an Adamant Absol, but hey, it's fine, welcome in. Against Grant, I only really have two options. That's the evolved Croaky and Sol. I figured Croaky would be a decent lead against Amora, but they paralyze us and hit Croaky with a critical takedown before getting knocked out. Crits are always unfortunate, and now especially I'm pretty sure Croaky dies to a crit Rock Tomb. Before getting any damage off, I switch to Sol, who actually eats a resisted bite. Still does some damage though. I take this chance to use our own bite in hopes of a flinch, but no luck, and we get our speed lowered with a Rock Tomb. And also our health gets lowered too. After the Oranberry heals 10 HP, we fish for another flinch, but Tyrant already outspeeds and lands a Rock Tomb to take out Sol, with Croaky croaking shortly after. Dear God, am I not humble enough? We make it back safe and sound on attempt 2, and this time around I actually pick up the Rock Smash TM from this random girl. Oops. Sol is the lead for our rematch, and surprise surprise, we just one-shot the Amora. We trade some hits with the Tyrant, and after the defense gets lowered, they heal only to get Rock Smashed again. They're dead to one more hit, but with Sol getting his speed lowered by the previous Rock Tomb, I switch into Croaky, who is more than capable of cleaning up and getting our second gym badge the way I should have done it to begin with. I'm gonna look up the TMs from now on. Hey, on the bright side, I'm picking up Vivi the Careful Eevee, who will evolve into Sylveon and learn Draining Kiss. Okay, it's okay, I got it out of my system. There was a lot of game up to this point, and now we're finally getting to the meat. I'm locked in, guys, don't worry. The very same Vivi makes quick work of Karina and her double Lucario strat. It might have been a little scarier if they had a Steel-type move other than Metal Sound. I don't even know why they would have Metal Sound. It lowers special defense and they don't have any special attacks. This game. In Reflection Cave, I skillfully dodge every After battling my way through Reflection Cave, I get to the last encounter for a while. The rival in X and Y gets a Clefable in their post-game fight, but since you can't get one until post-game, I add in Clef here. This seems like the appropriate place to get one, and I've decided it's best to get all of the canon Pokemon, rather than leaving some out for whatever reason. I'm sorry, Mantine, I let you down in the Soul Silver video. With the team mostly together now, it's time for our first battle against Calum! Woo! And I'm gonna be honest, for a second in this battle I thought, wow, we have some similar Pokemon! What are the odds? Crazy odds, right? Fortunately, I know his team pretty well, and the battle doesn't take long. Sol deals with the Meowstic, Vivi deals with the Absol, and Fletchy makes quick work of the Quilladin. Karina's gym fight goes even smoother. Meowie hasn't had much opportunity to show off yet, but being freshly evolved, she Psyshocks all of the Pokemon with ease. Man, I sure am lucky Karina doesn't have a Pokemon like, I don't know, Lucario, who would make this fight a little tougher, but way more interesting. Meowie would have been threatened. Over the years, Ramos, the next gym leader, has gotten a reputation for having no reputation. Nothing about him is super special, and his ace is a Go-Goat, a Pokemon who is underwhelming, sadly. But for me, I've noticed he's always one of my more touchy gym fights. Maybe it's because of my rule set, or my theme teams, or some combination of those. But the level that I fight him at always makes his team fairly scary, and I've learned not to underestimate him. Sol applies pressure to start off the fight, and while Acrobatics does about a third, we return the hit with an Aerial Ace that almost takes out the Jumpluff. 2 Hyper Potions brings us right back to where we were, and another Acrobatics helps me realize that Sol would have died to a crit. Oops! Well, either way, we eat our Citrus Berry and finish them off with one last hit. Instead of a Weepin' Bell, we've got Go-Goat on the field right now. At this range, Bulldoze and Takedown will do too much to my little Omen, so now I go to Vivi, who eats the hit. Fletchy would have been good too, but I'll need her for the Weepin' Bell later. On the previous route, we picked up the leftovers, so with the help of Protect and Baby Doll Eyes, Vivi takes the stall route and tries to get the Go-Goat to die of old age. Debuffing them is made even easier thanks to Cute Charm activating, but with their attack lowered so much by now, Fletchy enters the field after all. The Eviolite makes sure that Takedown does even less, and they're taken care of 2 flies later. And try as he might, but Weepin' Bell just doesn't have the gas to deal with us, and falls to fly just the same. Alright, I might have overestimated Ramos, but one wrong crit on Eevee could have ruined everything. So, in a way, I lucked out there. Fletchy has definitely earned it, but unfortunately she doesn't get to evolve. In the manga, she remains a Fletchinder, and while Serena gets a Fletchling in Master ZX, it's one of the few that are incapable of evolving. Weird, right? Well, it's fine, because with the Eviolite, Fletchy becomes impressively bulky, as we'll see later on. Croaky and Cotty get to reach their final forms anyways, so things are still looking good. So, after we get through the power plant, guys, it is here, it's in the game, and it's 2 rooms. We return to Lumio City for a moment to get our 5th badge. Meowie leads the fight against Clemont to flinch the Emolga with Fake Out and use Extrasensory. But after they outspeed and use Volt Switch, Magneton ends up being on the receiving end of the Psychic type attack. Meowie stays in to try to flinch them with another Extrasensory, but they stay focused and set the Electric Terrain. I was worried about this, because Thunderbolts from Magneton will hit like a truck now. But we've got no other choice but to stay in and try to get the flinch again. However, we don't get the flinch, and they send off the attack. And Meowie holds on! With this, we can switch to Vivi and run it back with our leftover stalling. Yes, Mirror Shot is a problem, but considering the boosted Thunderbolt damage, Draining Kiss would be just enough to help Vivi hold on. Not to mention the crit? Clemont's Ace attempts to get the revenge, but Vivi is so bulky that a couple Draining Kisses and a Moonblast get the Heliolisk out of our sight, and the Emolga returns for a short time before sharing the same fate. Wow, you think with a gym puzzle that hard that the battle would pose more of a threat, huh? Well, it seems like my wishes are answered for gym battle number 6, but even still, Fletchy leads the fight to handily deal with Valerie's Mawile, because with no Intimidate, they didn't stand a chance. When it came to Mr. Mime, Meowie was my pick. She learns Shadow Ball naturally through level up, and with no white screen set, all it takes is 3 hits. It's when Valerie's Sylveon comes in that I realize how much of a problem she is. I decided to bring Cotty for this fight because I was excited to finally use her and thought she'd fit in here. But it turns out that she is not as bulky as I thought, and Dazzling Gleam does about 65% to him. In case this wasn't clear by now, uh-oh. Cotty was equipped with leftovers, and his job was to leech seed this tanky Mon, but I can't do that right now. Man, need to switch. Fletchie is my only option, as she's at least resists fairy type attacks, but after using Fly, we run into another issue. Sylveon can lower our attack by 2 stages with Charm. Of course, we could still heal up with Roost and fish for the crit, but their cute charm activates, making this way more complicated. I mistakenly stay in for a turn to fish for Roost, but Fletchie is immobilized by the love and just gets hit with Swift. With that, I cut my losses and decide to pivot with Meowie in order to reset. But this is where I make another mistake. After using Fake Out, I should have preserved Meowie for safe pivoting later on if I needed her, and now Valerie is just gonna heal up. I take the opportunity to send Fletchie in on the heal to get a free Roost right after. Because they use Swift that turn instead of Charm, we can safely use Fly at full power. My goal now is to keep up with the combo of damage and heals, because even if they charm us, we could potentially stall them out of the scarier moves. Valerie has another potion still, apparently, which makes it a little bit tougher. Not to mention the second proc of Q-Charm. Cotty pivots in on a Swift to help Fletchie reset, and Fletchie returns to get charmed right away. But that's fine, we just need to stall. Our barrage of flies get weaker and weaker, and with another cute charm activation, it feels like it'll never end. At this point, I can't switch out haphazardly with how low the others are, so Fletchie needs to power through. Just when the immobilizations make me feel like all hope was lost, Sylveon hits Fletchie with a quick attack, and her flame body activates. Yeah, let's go, Fletchie! They're put on a timer and out of heals, so with that, we finally won our 6th gym badge. You know, maybe I shouldn't even try estimating the Kalos gym leaders anymore. But come on, how tough could the Psychic gym be? Croaky hasn't had much of any time to shine since evolving, but this is the kind of place where he shines. Sigilif gets outsped and sent to the red with Night Slash. They take the second chance at life just to use Light Screen, but that gets them nowhere. Croaky continuously brings them to the red until they run out of potions and finishes them off with one final Night Slash. Slowking unsurprisingly also lives, but because they don't use Yawn like they usually do, Croaky can finish them off as well. And Meowstic isn't anywhere near as bulky as the others, so instead they go down to 1 hit. Hey, that's my starter, guys, in case anyone was wondering. Yeah, I raced him, all me. With that, we're putting a huge pause on our gym challenge, as it's time to return to Lumiose to begin our raid on Team Flare. There's a fight against Lysander to start it off, but it's pretty simple compared to the follow-up fights, so we'll only focus on Xerosic for now. You guessing that's his actual name, or he just really thought that sounded cool? Normally this guy goes without mentioning, but this point of the game is where the enemy's movesets become a little more thorough, and my team has a lot of similar weaknesses. And that's why Crobat is a particular threat. X-Scissor, Cross Poison, Steel Wing, and Air Slash can hit just about everyone for super effective. I decided to lead with Croaky in hopes of landing as many priority water shurikens as possible. The goal is to get our Held King's Rock to activate a flinch, and these multi-hit moves have great synergy with that. Unfortunately, they don't get flinched, and Croaky is immediately put at crit kill range. But once again, Fletchie will come to save us, and her flame body activates immediately. If it didn't, she could have set the burn with Will-O-Wisp, but now Crobat is weakened and on borrowed time. Malamar is also scary with contrary superpower, but our Will-O-Wisp lands and burns. From there, Vivi is safe to simply finish them off with one Moonblast. We won the Pokemon battle, but the bad guys enact their plan anyway, and their final goal is put into motion. Crazy how they don't do that more often. Immediately after, we go back to Geosenge Town to catch up with Lysander, and he quickly evolves his Pokemon in order to stall us while the World Domination Beam charges. His first Pokemon is the dreaded Mienshao, and to answer them, I send out Clef. Oh? What? You don't remember Clef? All the way back from Reflection Cave? Well, it turns out that she's the best answer for the Mienshao, as Vivi isn't physically bulky at all. Clef eats the acrobatics for pretty much free, and Moonblast in return to get the KO. Gyarados, on the other hand, is scary for everyone, but that moveset is no joke. I can confidently predict an Iron Head coming out, so Meowie tags in and hits them with the all-reliable combo. Fake Out and literally anything else. This time it's backed up with the 4 times effective Thunderbolt, so there's no way that they... Huh? Well, good job holding on, Meowie! Honestly, I have no idea how she lived, but I will not complain as we get the kill immediately after. Let's go! My answer in the Pyroar is Croaky, and after a Fire Blast does almost nothing, we try to get our King's Rock Water Shuriken combo to work again. It doesn't, but Surf finishes them off anyway. It's fine. Last is Honchkrow, and even after missing a Will-O-Wisp, Fletchy still proves to be a great tank and holds on long enough to land the next one. Clef rejoins the fight after that, and being extra safe from Steel Wing now, she takes them out with Moonblast, winning the fight. Okay, so this is the point where I reveal why I played Pokemon X version as Yvonne and not Y. Well, in the manga, she's actually the one who captures Xerneas, and since we're using canon teams, Zerzer will be helping us against an oddly familiar final fight. The thing is though, Xerneas is so good, even underleveled, that they sweep most of the team. Pyroar is once again taken care of by Croaky, but after that, even Mega Gyarados gets one shot. But don't worry, we'll keep up with the canon and put Zerzer away for the rest of the game. They're too good, I don't want them to be a mainstay anyways. We did it, everyone! We saved the town, and it's... The famous battle on the bridge is next, and this 6v9 feels about as out of place as it's ever been. I like the concept, but the 8th gym leader still only gets 3 Pokemon after this. Of course, these fights aren't as scary overall, especially coming back from the Team Flare climax. But there is one fight of these 3 where things go haywire. Tierno's Talonflame goes down, according to plan, thanks to Croaky, but Roserade tags in next. Their only move is Petal Dance, and Meowie is left cleanly in the green on our switch. And knowing that we're safe to outspeed, we commit to Fake Out and Psychic. And they live on 1. Not only that, but the next Petal Dance gets the critical hit and takes Meowie out. Man, I can't even go deathless in X and Y, huh? Honestly, it is my fault. I could have gone to Cotty, who would have eaten the Petal Dance for free. I just thought Meowie would save me some time. I guess she was also kind of on borrowed time, considering all the other close calls. But, man, rest in peace. I recognize by this point that Wolfric's Pokemon are pretty, interesting picks for the 8th gym, but there are shenanigans that can brew here, and I need to make sure that I don't get cooked. Fletchy makes things pretty easy to start, because even though she isn't fully evolved, and doesn't get the one-shot on Abomasnow, she gets there eventually while making them waste all their potions. Croaky eats Cryogonal's Ice Beam on his entrance, and tries to get the knockout with Night Slash before possibly getting confused by Confuse Ray. They hold on, but because they just set up the Hail instead, they fall a turn later. Last is Avalugg, and our Surf powers up their Avalanche in return. It looks like another Surf may do the trick, but I don't want to risk the roll and switch to Clef. Our Flamethrower we got from a TM does the trick from there, and wins us a predictably simple 8th badge. And believe it or not, we've got one final friend who will be joining the team. On Route 21, Tartar the Altaria joins the rotation, because in our last rival fight, they have one too. But as you can imagine, we've got this fight down packed by now. Sol leads the fight to take out the... Meowstink! Vivi answers the Altaria really well thanks to our special bulk. Cotty is somehow bulky enough to outdamage Vaporeon's Aurora Beams. Fletchy can easily take out the Chestnut even at this stage. The Flame Body Burn helps, but wasn't necessary. And finally, her Absol meets her match yet again, but this time, the match is Clef. And there we have it! We've made it to the Pokemon League. I looked up all the trainers at the very end this time, so they wouldn't give me any issues. And we're all ready to take on the Elite Four. The team looks a little different than I had imagined originally, but we've got Croaky, Fletchy, Cotty, Sol, Clef, and Tartar. Since Fletchy has done so well to get to this point, I decided to Eevee train her to help her keep up with the others. I also used my remaining money to buy EV medicine for Tartar to catch him up, but not to overdo it and max everything out. I really wanted to bring Vivi for this challenge, but Clef sadly outclasses her for these matchups. Clef is just so bulky and gets access to so many good moves. Hopefully, I won't regret this. With my Pokemon having 4 slots for attacks, I had to route the Elite Four in a way that would let me use certain moves and then replace them safely when needed. This led me to begin with Drasna, the Dragon-type trainer. In this case, that meant keeping Ice Beam on Froakie before relearning the HM for Surf. But things start off simple enough, with Solsol hitting Dragalge with a Psycho Cut, and safely eating a Sludge Bomb before finishing them off. Altaria comes in next, and lowers Cotty's special attack with their Moonblast. It's fine because we still do enough damage to keep up with them. The problem arises when they land their first Sing, so I had to switch to Clef earlier than I planned while they heal up. For some reason they just use Cotton Guard, so Clef's Ice Beam safely takes them out. I don't know what physical attack they were scared of. Noivern enters earlier than I expected, but leaves even earlier than that, leaving Drudagon for last. She really can't do much to us. The worst thing she could do is retaliate, which is just... Oh, cool! We lived! So Clef holds on and concludes the semi-sweep with one last Moonblast. Next in line is the Water-type guy, Cybold. His fight isn't as scary, especially since Cotty can wall off the Clawitzer and its Mega Launcher. The Miracle Seed that we're holding proves to boost Giga Drain and Energy Ball really well. Gyarados is next, but they made an interesting choice in balancing this guy by not giving him as much coverage as the previous Gyarados we've seen. They use Dragon Dance as usual when I switch to Clef, and then they use it again before they tank our Thunderbolt. What's with the Gyarados and living Thunderbolts lately? Clef takes the +2 Waterfall like a champ and finishes them off. Barbaricle's entry just means that Cotty is safe to return, and heals up all the damage he's taken with Giga Drain. And then Starmie gets energized to a crisp by Energy Ball as soon as he appears. I wonder what the grass equivalent to being burned is. What kind of horrible sensation do these water types feel? Things have been going so well that I actually didn't even need to worry about the rotation of my Pokemon's movesets, I guess. But Croaky's got his Surf back just in time to fight Malva. Well, we're leading with Tartar this time, but still. Croaky would have been worried about the Pyroar's Wild Charge, even with the rivalry ability weakening said Pyroar. The goal is to play it safe and set Tartar up with Dragon Dance and hope she could sweep from there. I don't go too overboard, and after they nerf our third Dragon Dance with a Noble Roar, we start blasting. Our now +2 Earthquake inevitably takes down both the Pyroar and the Torkoal. Talonflame hovers above the ground, so we have to switch to Dragon Claw, which unfortunately activates the Flame Body. But even with the burn, they're defeated too. And last is Chandelure. The burn on Tartar means that Croaky finally gets his time in Elite Four. He was always my backup option, but things have been going so well that I just didn't need him yet. This time around though, Chandelure gets struck with a Night Slash, followed up by a priority Water Shuriken, and they don't stand a chance. And finally, we've got Wickstrom, who is very scary for me this time around. His Pokemon have touchy type coverage, his Klefki can set plenty of spikes, and his Aegislash is Aegislash. My plan is to bait Flash Cannon with Clef's typing and prevent them from setting any spikes. And it works out! That lets her land a Flamethrower in return to take her out. Honestly, that crit probably mattered. We could do the same for Scizor, but not before they do the same to us. So, it's Fletchy's turn on the field. I gotta say, he really ate that attack like a champ. And from there, the Flame Body Burn picks up the kill that our Flame Charge just barely missed. Now, while the Eviolite is really nice, and Probopass doesn't have much of an attack stat at all, I still don't want to risk that Power Gem hit. So Croaky is back! It's true they also have Discharge, but they'll never get to use it after our King's Rock Water Shuriken lands all 5 times and finally gets a flinch. With that, we can take them out safely with Surf the next turn. The final Aegislash on the field means that it's an easy switch back to Fletchy, whose Flame Body activates again immediately. Let's go! Aegislash could do absolutely nothing to hurt us now, and perishes not that much later. Oh, no evolving still. We've only got one last fight to take care of, and Diantha decides to lead it by sending out Hawlucha. But because they don't have much of anything to hit Tartar with, they immediately waste a turn to set up Sword Dance. But unfortunately for them, it isn't enough to protect them from a Moonblast, and our attack forces them to waste every single potion before going down. Tartar got poisoned in the process by Poison Jab, but I'm not worried about that. Aurora's threatens with a Blizzard, so we're not staying in anyways. Clef eats the attack on the switch, and she just outspeeds and heals up with Moonlight. They set up a Reflect in the meantime, only for it to be destroyed with Break the following turn. I'm not exactly sure what she was going for, but Tyrantrum is sent out just to go down to a single Moonblast. And Gutra wasn't very far behind at all. Gourgeist is able to land some Phantom Forces, but the Shadow Ball TM gives Clef a way to comfortably win this matchup as well. Dang, maybe the rival doesn't get a Clefable until the post-game for a reason. This thing's a monster. However, there's another monster who's on the battlefield now, and that's Mega Gardevoir. This beast must have a secret luck stat that's got all the investment, because their first Shadow Ball crits Clef, as well as lowers her special defense. We could have gotten a sweep, as shown by our damage output, but we're hurting now. I can't even reliably switch to Fletchy because they also have Thunderbolt. What the heck? Only I should have type coverage. With Mega Gardevoir's speed, I'm left with no other choice but to switch to Cotty. I know we could take one Shadow Ball and use our Prankster ability to outspeed and land a Stun Spore, but the following attack would always be a gamble, and unfortunately, it ends up being one that we lost. Rest in peace, Cotty. You've been here from the very beginning. Thanks to you, we can win this. Sol finally returns to the fight and intends on putting a bookend to the Elite Four. With him now being able to outspeed, Sol uses his adamant, super effective Shadow Claw to decidedly take out the Mega, defeating not only Champion Diantha, but also the entire game. Thank you all so much for watching today. I'm hoping to get this video out before Pokemon Day, where we're surely getting Legends Z to A news. I thought it'd be a good idea to revisit Kalos like I did with Legends Arceus. Especially after the leaks, I could still feel like this game was supposed to be much bigger than it ended up being. But I'm optimistic that Z to A will stick the landing. It's been 3,000 years, haha. Am I right, guys? Haha. If you liked the video, then please consider leaving a like, comment, or subscribe. It helps me out a whole lot, and I'd really appreciate it. But that's all I've got today. Thank you all again so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time, and have a good one.